Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Kamari Ellis here, the Finance Rebel. This is the Finance Rebel Show. Today is Wednesday, right? So we are all here for the Wealthy Wednesdays. And today we're going to talk about something before we get into our questions and answers, but we're going to talk about something that I found today that I thought was a very, very interesting. So as you know, every Wednesday I jump on live at 8 p.m.-ish. And I answer your questions. And sometimes I have some commentary for some things that are going on around the world in the financial space, especially in the financial space where it intersects with the Black community. So today will be one of those days. So today we will be talking about the very first stock market exchange. And so before we do that, I ask that everybody share this out to a couple places where they know people are looking to increase their financial IQ, because the Finance Rebel Show is all about increasing your financial IQ. Also, any questions you may have, go ahead and throw them in the comment section, and I will be sure to get through them. Oxelli, how you doing? Welcome. Janina B, I want to say your name right. One Qzada, how are you? So how is everybody tonight? How is everyone feeling? Thank you all for being here. I'm truly honored that you're here. Miss Rhonda Cox is chiming in from YouTube. How you doing, Miss Rhonda? Miss Rhonda, you rock with me every week too. I appreciate that. I truly appreciate that. So again, hey Tiffany. Tiffany's been here almost every week too. Tiffany been rocking with me too. I appreciate you, Tiffany. Thank you for coming in. So like I said, we're going to be talking about the very first stock market exchange. I'm just now learning about it. I got somebody, actually about 3 people sent me this article today in Black Enterprise. But I want to actually take a look at, we'll go through the article and some of the stuff along with the launch of this new platform. So it looks pretty exciting, and I'm really interested to see what it's all about. So, all right, well, let's start from the top, right? I want to share the site with you all. Sorry, my IG people, I don't have the capability to share things over there yet, but you can just listen to my voice and follow along. Hopefully I do a good job. All right, so Future the Fund, funding the future. First ever minority-owned stock exchange information. All right, so they haven't quite launched just yet, but they are in the process. All right, Tiffany, I appreciate that. Rhonda, you did? Where'd you send it to me? I didn't see it. Lynette, welcome. Miss Edith shared. Thank you, Miss Edith. I appreciate you sharing. You're always good. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? Ryan, put your platform in the comment for me so I can share it out. Ryan Perez is my buddy. He's always promoting me. He's got a media platform as well. He's doing big things. Big things are going on. All right, so the future of funding, this is called the Dream Exchange. And I just now learned about it. So again, this is a minority stock market exchange. It says their mission is the Dream Exchange will become a new stock exchange that will focus on small business capital formation and diversity using the power of the American investing public. This new stock exchange will allow investors to empower innovators and emerging businesses in a way that has never been done before. So now they're offering or asking everyone to register for the webinar that's coming out on July 28th or July 29th. So I'm definitely going to register for that. All right, so they've got a blog. Okay, they got a couple things, but not a whole lot. Now let's look about. All right, so that's coming soon. Let's see what else they got. I'm actually excited about this. I would love to see more. So DreamX Connect is a free capital networking software that brings business owners and investors together. Telling stories, specify your criteria so investors can easily find you based on funding round, regulation type keywords. Okay. I'm getting the feeling, and I might be wrong, but I'm getting the feeling that this isn't going to be a publicly traded stock exchange. I have a feeling it's going to be more of a closed end kind of crowdfunding type exchange, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Let's see. That page is broken. So for all of y'all that can't see me right now, because I don't have the screen shared, I am going to pull up. I'm going to pull up the article that I just read. Okay. So I'm pulling up the article. It's on Black Enterprise. I thought it was interesting. Again, I was very, very excited about seeing this come through, and I want to know all about it. So here's the article from Black Enterprise. The first Black-owned stock exchange in U.S. history is opening. So I've read this already. How you doing, Queen Stance? How you doing, Southside Shorty? Mid-Atlantic, how are you? And so one of the people that are building this out was a former lawyer. They talked about how oftentimes Black companies are excluded from the stock market experience or access to capital in the stock market. The Dream Exchange is founded by Joe Salia in partnership. You know what? I wasn't going to say anything, but can somebody reach out to Black Enterprise and tell them that they have too many ads and that the reader experience isn't the best? I love Black Enterprise, for the record. I am not bashing, but you got to think about the reader experience. So every like 60 seconds, an ad pops up and then it reorients the whole page. So Joe Casilla with Katie's Capital Holdings, a minority-owned private equity firm led by William. Y'all see it again? Y'all see it disappear, right? Now it's a new ad. I was in the middle of reading, and then now it reoriented the whole page. All right, so basically in a nutshell, because I know this is going to happen again, I've had it on my iPhone, on my iPad, and now on my desktop. I was hoping it would go away. But basically, they're saying that for the most part, access to capital is really limited, really hard for Black-owned businesses to get access to because of such a high thresholds, some of the high barriers, and that a lot of the companies that really need the access to capital are companies that are worth, it says right here, less than 50 million. All right. But typically only the biggest companies get access to the IPOs. But again, the ones that really need it are those that are 50 million and less in value overall. And so they're talking about launching this platform, the Dream Exchange, so that more Black-owned businesses can do that. So it says the importance of a Black-owned stock exchange cannot be understated. Research from the SEC IPO task force shows that 92% of all jobs are created after a company goes public. So like when you think about big companies like a Microsoft, or Amazon, or Walmart, 92% of their jobs are created after the IPO phase, right? After they get this big infusion of capital, after they have this big equity event that typically is able to do it. So falling over in the magic says ad blocker. I'm on it now with no ads. Okay. You know, it's funny though. Sometimes when you use ad blocker, they won't show you, the pop-ups get all messed up and things get crazy. But thank you for that. I will definitely use that because the ads are definitely going crazy. All right. So tell me, anybody interested in this platform? Anybody think this platform is interesting? Okay, Rhonda says she sent me the message on Messenger. So was it a private message or can you ask me now, Rhonda? Hello to Women's Financial Empowerment Group. How you doing? Thanks for joining. Can I explain crowdfunding? Sure can. George Word says, what are your top stocks to invest in? I don't have any top stocks right now. I'm actually building out a new list. I just brought about 100 shares of Ford. But George, I'll come back and I'll tell you what I'm looking at, some of the stuff I'm looking at. So crowdfunding. So Tiffany, you should have seen an interview I did not too long ago. And we talked all about crowdfunding. We talked all about a new project that's coming out called the 10K project. And that's also a Black project run by some Black ladies, some Black sisters who are building a platform to gather 10,000 people to contribute $100 to fund Black-owned businesses. So there is a lot going on right now in this space, but we talked all about crowdfunding. And let's see if I could find the video. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. So we're having some technical difficulties. So what is crowdfunding? Give me 1 second. So I'm going to give you kind of a brief description of crowdfunding, but I want you to take a look on my YouTube page because this interview right here, crowdfunding, how to raise capital for Black-owned businesses, is an interview I did because every Saturday I do Wealthy Conversations. And I talk about different things with different people, just hoping to stimulate the brain about wealth and business ownership and investments overall. And on that Saturday, I got an opportunity to interview the founders of the 10K project, again, where they're looking to gather a minimum of 10,000 people who will contribute $100 to potentially invest in Black-owned businesses. So that's all about crowdfunding. So what is crowdfunding, right? So crowdfunding is a law, right? And I'm kind of giving you the abbreviated version. It's a law that was passed not too long when President Obama was in office that lowered the standards for people to make investments into quote unquote more risky investments. So before, in order to invest in some of these companies, you had to be what's called an accredited investor. Accredited investor is somewhere the SEC deems accredited investor to make, I want to say, $250,000 if you're single, $400,000 if you're married, and or have a net worth all in $1 million in cash somewhere. So that's what an accredited investor was. Obama and the Congress put through a law that says, okay, you don't have to have that accreditation now to invest in some of these riskier type business situations. And I'm using riskier business type situations because that's what the SEC deems them as. All right. But now this gives businesses the opportunity to raise money from a crowd of people. Right. So right now we have on approximately about 20 people between Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So right now, if I had an offering and I met with all the SEC regulations, I could go to one of these platforms and I could put my business offering up there. And all 20 of you can contribute to my business. It could be anything from $5 investment to several thousands of dollars, right? So it just makes it easier for the average everyday person to actually get in the mix, be able to take advantage of some wealth opportunities, some investment opportunities, some business opportunities that they normally wouldn't have access to. And it also gives the business owner an opportunity to raise capital for their business, because you know what they say, the biggest barrier to successful businesses is having access to capital. So it gives these Black-owned businesses an opportunity, well, not just Black-owned, but businesses in general, to have an opportunity to raise capital and get access to platforms to raise capital. So listen, take a listen, take a watch on that show, on that interview, on that episode. All right, crowdfunding, how to raise capital for Black-owned businesses. Hopefully that was a good description. Let me know if you need further explanation. All right, so what else we got going on over here? Nicole, no, how are you? Creations by Naisha, how are you? Sweet Pea 1065, how are you? So welcome. Honored to have you all here. Thank you for being here. So let's see, what questions do we have? Good evening, Miss Carol. I need to name a number of guys that works in real estate at the bank. Are you talking about Mr. Robert Lewis, the mortgage guy? I will definitely get you his information. I believe that's what you're talking about, right? I think that's the only real estate person I've had on. All right. Women's Financial Empowerment Group. Okay, so to start this off, I am talking about my own experience. These shows are for education and entertainment purposes only. All right. I am not telling anybody to buy anything. I'm just telling y'all what I think, what's going on. These are not recommendations. This is not investment advice. Before you buy any investment, be sure to check in with your investment and tax advisor, because past performance is not an indication of future results. Basically, that means just because an investment did good in the past doesn't mean it will continue to do good in the future. All right. So, Women's Financial Empowerment Group asks, why Ford? So why Ford? I think Ford is a wonderfully capitalized business. I think Ford is a well-run company. I think Ford is doing pretty good in the electronic vehicle space. Ford has a lot of other projects coming out, like the new Mustang. That's an electronic vehicle, the new Bronco. And so they're here to compete. They've been pretty well run for quite some time. They have $35 billion in the bank. And so, one of the things I was thinking about was, could this company survive the pandemic that we currently have going on right now? Yes, and the shares are in the toilet. Last time I looked, Ford was trading at $6.75. All right, so $6.75. I said, hey, I'll buy 100 shares. I also buy Ford, right, as an example to show people that you can buy stocks. You don't have to be rich. You don't need a whole bunch of money, and you can buy a little bit at a time, right? And a lot of this started with me talking about Starbucks. I go to Starbucks a lot. Well, I used to go to Starbucks a lot. I haven't been to Starbucks in quite some time now, since the pandemic has been here. But I go to Starbucks a lot. It would be nothing for me to plop down $30 a week at Starbucks. And so one day doing live, I was talking about it, and people were asking me, like, how should you start with investing? So I said, buy what you know. Great Peter Lynch recommendation years ago. That's how he based on all his information. If you're not familiar with Peter Lynch, please look him up. He's got several books. I would recommend everybody read them. But buy what you know. So it started with Starbucks. So I started buying some Starbucks. And then I said, well, all right, well, I want to buy something else that I'm really excited about. And I've always liked Ford. And I started looking forward, and I thought Ford had good numbers. And I thought Ford would be able to bounce back a lot better than the other car manufacturers out there. Now, some people will tell you that car manufacturing is dead. Anything with an engine is dead. And I respect that. But I also don't believe that cars are going out of style anytime soon. And I also believe that Ford is pretty well positioned, especially in the EV market or the electronic vehicle market, to do some things. So that's why I started to buy Ford, kind of giving you the quick, fast, and dirty overview. Okay, what about XRP? Isn't XRP crypto? Let's say XRP is crypto. What is XRP? Is there a ticker symbol for XRP? I know I've seen it before. Right. Crypto cap. I am not a super big crypto guy. I love the idea of crypto and Bitcoin about having private networks to keep government out of your business. But we saw how that failed, right? Government has cracked down on Coinbase. Coinbase is giving up all the tape. So that ain't how none of that's going to work. But it's cool. Yes, the 10X project. So yes, everybody check out the 10X project. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I love what they're doing. It's pretty well thought out. So that's going to be another way for Black-owned businesses to raise capital. Super duper important. Super duper important. By the way, speaking of Black-owned businesses, y'all know I am a Black-owned business aficionado. So I got my hashtag prop. By the way, this is a Black-owned company, right? Hashtag props. What do y'all think? Y'all like it? I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'll sit it right here for right now, but my light is blocking it. I'll have to mount it. What do y'all think about that, though? So I am not familiar with BRX Cash and corporate cards. Well, what do you mean about corporate cards? My pleasure, Tiffany. Okay, I will get you Robert Lewis's information. His tag is also Lend to USA as well on most platforms, I think. Melanated out, how are you doing, brother? Shamiz Michelle, how are you? All right, what? Yes, it is. What? Come on, give me some context, Shamiz. What do you think about the company Modern A? I think I saw that earlier this week, but I'm not sure. You like it? Cute. All right. Always got to be thinking about branding when you got a business, right? All right. So I have a question on IG. So the question on IG is, what about Forex? What about it? What do you want to know? Forex stands for foreign exchange. All right. Foreign exchange is just other things in other countries or money in other countries, right? So you got the Japanese yen, you got the Swiss franc, you have the Australian dollar, you have the euro and the EU, you have the British pound in the UK, also called the sterling, sometimes called the sterling cable. You have the Canadian loonie, and you have the Mexican, I want to say peso. But I also feel like I want to say the Mexican dollar as well. What do you want to know about Forex? Yes, the Mexican peso. Oops. So nice. Queen on her throne, how you doing? All right, I'm open. Your name is so long. Falling open into magic. I do like the name though. I'm currently eyeballing SPX myself. Yeah. I mean, I think Starbucks is not going out of business anytime soon. They have plenty of cash. I don't know off the top of my head, but we can look. And they've got a great brand. I mean, when you think about it, those with the most powerful brands tend to make the most money. Okay, so Nicole Noel 818 says, I've invested in a few crowd funds recently. Chris Senegal's Houston's Fifth Ward mixed use fund, and the other real estate fund. Okay. I'm intentionally not saying their name. Yep. What made you invest in them, Nicole? Okay. Okay, is it good to do? Okay, so Forex, is it good to do? So I don't recommend Forex for beginners. The Forex market moves really, really fast. I was funny. I was actually just talking to a buddy of mine today who was in the Forex market. I'm going to tell y'all, a lot of people are running around and promoting things, and I call them lottery tickets, right? I call them lottery tickets because it's all predicated on get rich quick. It's all predicated on get rich quick. And if you look over time, get rich quick never works. But he's told me some of the things about Forex has changed. So years ago, when I was institutional and I was trading Forex, the overnight fees were horrendous. But the Forex market moves very, very fast. And so my overall premise is, listen, learn the market first, learn the stock market first, because the stock market is kind of the base of everything. However, small caveat, Forex is bigger than everything. Forex is like a $5 trillion market daily, something like that, because it deals with every country across the globe, just about every country across the globe. And every country across the globe is trading or doing something. Mergers and acquisitions, people traveling, banks transferring money from one country to another. I mean, it's very complex. It moves. It's highly, highly movable, or it moves a lot based on economic news. Actually, all kinds of news now, geopolitical news, things like that. So it moves pretty fast. And again, supposedly some of the costs have gone down. So I'm going to check it out again and dive back into it. Not dive back into it, but I'm going to check it out again, because every week somebody asks me about Forex. But the market moves so fast. And in my opinion, what I've seen over my career is that people get into these situations, they get stomped out, right? They have a bad experience, and then they never want to get back into the game again. So I would suggest, do what you know, do what you're good at. Naisha, I know you're in the hair. I will put all my energy in the hair. And then once you get that up, and again, this is just my opinion, right? Once you get that up, then you can start investing in other avenues, right? I'm not a big fan of multiple streams of income, because most people are trying to sell you something when they give you that pitch. Most rich people got rich by having 7 streams of income. That's a lie. That's a total lie. They might have 7 streams of income now while they are rich and while they are wealthy. But 9 times out of 10, that's not how they got there, right? So a lot of times people are pitching to you what the successful are doing while they're there. They never tell you that. First and foremost, the rich and famous, right? I'm thinking about that, are unique and special, right? I don't want to get into this whole capitalism versus regular people debate tonight. I ain't got the energy for that tonight. I've got plenty of videos on that. Y'all can go check the archive on that. But a lot of times they're extraordinary. Some are crooked, yes. A lot of them are just smart and ethical. But the question you have to ask yourself, are you them? Are you wealthy potential? Do you have potential to be wealthy? Do you have the mindset to be wealthy? Are you ready to be wealthy, right? You're not just, Bill Gates isn't just walking around as the average person. A lot of people don't realize how much information Bill Gates takes in, right? I never forget, I read an article about him because he's in Seattle. And when he's in his car, warming up his car, he had a map of Africa on there that actually tells something. I'm not going there though. But he had a map of Africa because he wanted to familiarize himself with Africa. So he wanted to take every waking moment to invest in himself and invest in his knowledge. How many people are really willing to do that? I mean, I got people nowadays that tell me they don't even want to read. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Kanye West is running for president and having so-called mental health breakdowns, but he proudly says he doesn't read. And it reflects in everything he does, right? And that's not to say that readers are super duper smart, but they tend to have a bit more perspective than those who don't read tend to, right? So, okay. So George Worth says, you don't feel like they're going to do away with cash soon. No, I don't think they're going to do away with cash soon. I know everybody's talking about the cashless society. I want y'all to think about this. If you have a cashless society, right, everything will be tracked. Imagine what your tax bill will be like then. But no, I don't. Do I think we're going to get more digital? Yeah. I mean, the government's developing a digital dollar. Yes. But when you say cashless, right, digital dollar can just be another form of cash. It doesn't have to be paper. I mean, checks, right? Checks are a form of cash, or they're at least treated like a form of cash, unless they know you're going to bounce the checks and your checks are made out of rubber. But typically, they are made out of, or they're backed by the government. They're backed by the bank, right? And so they're viewed as cash. People still take checks. Supermarkets still take checks. Supermarkets still cash checks, and all of that. Right, XRP is a crypto. Thank you. Swiss francs. I thought I said Swiss franc. Cam, I know you don't like real estate, but what do you think about buying and getting rid of the 1030? So let's stop this, right? It's not. I don't have a dislike for any asset class. I am asset class agnostic. However, what I am anti-fad, and most people that are jumping into real estate are hopping on a bandwagon. There, I said it. And you're hopping on a bandwagon because some racist white guy that wants to say the N-word is telling everybody to buy real estate. Or somebody else that is just following the adage of real estate, to do real estate, or because it's popular, right? There's nothing wrong with real estate. I grew up around real estate. There's nothing wrong with it. But you got to be serious about it. So my only thing is, I just say, be serious. So you should be investing in real estate. If you are into real estate, you should be investing in real estate or doing real estate activities when the market is up and when the market is down. It shouldn't matter. But watch when we have a real crash, how many people run out of the real estate market. It happens every time. It happens every time. Same thing for the stock market. I've seen all kinds of people promoting stocks, talking about stocks, and they just discovered it like 2 weeks ago. And now they are stockmarketaficionado.com. But give them a minute. Let's see another major crash in the market and see where they are. Oh, I forgot I had this set on. And see where they are. See what they do. See how they rock. And I mean, again, there's no diss. I'm just for people doing what they have abilities in, doing what they have talent in, doing what they've studied. All right, but I seriously doubt if they're going to get rid of the 1031 tax exchange. For those people out there who don't know what the 1031 tax exchange is, it's considered a tax-free exchange of real estate. When you sell one piece of property and then you are buying another piece of property, but when you sell a piece of property, in particular a piece of investment property, you have to pay what's called capital gains, or you have to pay tax on your gain. Matter of fact, I am working on a tax return right now for a client that just sold 2 properties, and they have a nice capital gain. But instead of paying that capital gain, they can do what's called a 1031 exchange. You have to contract with an intermediary who holds your money after you sell the property. And then you have, it's either 90 days or 6 months, I forget the time period, to find a new property, take that money and invest it. So for example, let's say you got a building, you bought the building for $100,000, you sold it for $200,000, you make $100,000 in profit. So that $100,000 will be taxed at capital gains rates, usually 15%. So that would be $15,000 out of that $100,000, leaving you with roughly $85,000. However, you say, I don't want to do that. I've got a couple other properties I've got my eye on. I'm going to find this 1031 exchange intermediary or specialist. I'm going to give them the money to hold the money until I identify and find this new property. So I can take that $100,000, put it down on the new property, and that's my down payment. Or it could potentially pay it all off, right? But let's say you sold that one property again for $200,000, and typically you need about 20% to get into a property. So you wanted to buy something, let's say for $800,000. You can take that $100,000 that you've got in profit, buy the $800,000 property, right? And you're good. You put your down payment down, you're good to go. Now there are fees involved, and I'm oversimplifying the process. The process is a bit more stringent than that, a bit more difficult than that. But that's kind of the gist of it. Take that $100,000, give it to an intermediary, identify the new property, buy the new property, put that $100,000 down as a down payment. And then, that $800,000 property now has $100,000 of equity in it. You didn't pay any tax on it. And so roughly you only have a $700,000 mortgage left. I don't think that'll ever happen. The real estate lobby in the United States is way too strong for that. Everybody is fascinated by real estate. Everybody loves the visuals of real estate. I don't see any of the tax advantages for real estate going away. They will change, right? We had some change in the last tax bill, the TJCA bill, Tax Jobs and Cut Act, that went in effect in 2018. We saw some real estate changes happen then, but no, I don't see it. Real estate actually creates a lot of jobs in the economy. But when you look now, when you come full circle, look at all these strip malls and look at what's happening to all these strip malls. A lot of those strip malls were brought with 1031 exchanges. A lot of them were brought through some type of tax advantage before the internet and e-commerce was here. Now the internet, e-commerce is here, and you have more of an experiential in-store shopping experience. Things are getting more tough. They're getting it's getting a bit hectic, and we're seeing a lot of these strip malls lay dormant. So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to figure out some kind of way to juice up the tax code, I bet, to give advantages to more real estate somehow. So no, I don't think Biden's going to do that. They say it. He'll never get it through Congress. Never get it through Congress. So let's see. And for the record, I don't hate real estate. Everybody say it with me. Kamari does not hate real estate. All right. Brex works with startups and has business credit cards and also helps with working capital. Okay. I will check them out, Rhonda. I appreciate that. Never heard of them before. Yes, Shamise, Forex is a beast. I love it though. But you also are a full-time trader, right, Shamise? I believe you are a full-time trader. Listen, there are no bad financial instruments. There's bad financial strategy. All right. So, and most people don't realize that. They don't realize that emotions are the biggest enemy to wealth. I don't care where it is, but especially on trading platforms, whether it be you're trading stocks, options, commodities, or currencies. Most people don't have the emotional fortitude to trade some of these things, especially Forex. Forex is mostly day traded for the most part. But you can also use ETFs to do that. Yes, Shamise, they focus on one thing and multiply their money into 7 streams. Yes, sister. Amen. Hallelujah. You are 1,000% correct. But folks are lying to y'all. They're telling you that multiple streams of income will get you rich or wealthy, whatever term you want to use. It's an absolute lie. It's one, maybe two. That's how they do it. Focus on one thing. Absolutely. And I did not pay Shamice to say that. Okay, so Lynette says I brought stock in Virgin Galactic Holdings and Madeira. Not sure if that was a smart decision. My thoughts when buying Madeira was vaccine research, and Virgin Galactic I brought just in case the vaccines don't work. I guess people would want to move to space. Kamari, take a look at these companies from a financial perspective. Was it a smart decision? Well, I don't know if it was a smart decision. Here's why. I don't know what your time horizon is. I don't know when you're going to need the money. I don't know how long you plan to invest on them for. Again, y'all keep talking about investing, but you're not doing it with any kind of foundation. And I'm not picking on you, Lynette. I'm talking about the proverbial they or the proverbial we. Like there's some rules to the game that you should know. Now you can be like everybody else that runs into the market and just buys because they think it's sexy. Everybody was buying the vaccine companies when they thought it was going to help COVID. People were buying the mask companies. People didn't realize that a lot of these companies, a lot of these things are just blips. They're just short-term occurrences, right? And many times they may not matter that much. Now, if COVID continues on and it becomes more of a long-term thing, years and decades, like I hear them promoting potentially getting this vaccine. I forget what the resident in the White House is calling it, something that the Express Track, and they've gotten a bunch of pharmaceutical companies on board to do testing, and they're expecting it to get here in 2021. But who knows if there won't be another mutation by then. So remember, stock market is all about profits. We're seeing the stock market go up and up and up because investors are expecting that the stock market is going to continue to have profits. That's why it's going up. So you have more buyers in the market buying versus sellers. So again, Lynette, how long do you want to hold it for? Is it retirement holding? Are you investing this money for college? Is this your wealth or opportunity fund, right? So, I should do a bucket of money. I have what's called buckets of money. And that's not my original concept. But I just talk about how to kind of position and strategize your money and how to think about it. So, for example, if you need money in a year or less and you're not a good trader, which most people are not, you should not have money in the stock market. You should put it in a CD, maybe a bond or something, but it shouldn't be in the stock market. It shouldn't be in anything sexy. Any of that stuff, it should just be in cold hard cash in the bank or maybe even under your mattress. So, but that depends. So give me some more feedback. Why did you buy it? How long were you looking on holding it for? Right? Are the companies profitable? Are the companies like Virgin? I know they're doing space exploration. When do they plan on being profitable? So things like that. Yes, nice understanding investing passively. The white CTC tax, how are you? Lindsay USA, look at that. I say his name and the man appears. So Robert, someone is asking for your information. Miss Rhonda Cox on YouTube is asking for your information, sir. Jay Watt, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Hickey_join, how you doing? H Boys, Boss Man. Right, War Speed, Operation War Speed, thank you. Yeah, that dude, yeah, whatever. I'm not talking about him because then I'm going to be on a tangent. All right, so Kara Allen says, well, before I read this question, listen, everybody, you're watching the Finance Rebel Show. I'm Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. Every Wednesday is the Wealthy Wednesday segment. Do me a favor, share this with somebody. Y'all know I come on here and I answer everybody's questions, trying to give everybody a better sense of direction, some books to read, some actions to take, steps to take, help them increase their wealth opportunities for themselves, their family, and their overall community. So don't keep me a secret. Share me out, especially on YouTube. All right. So Carol Allen's question or statement Which one is it? I don't know yet. So reading John Bogle's Common Sense Investing, would you explain total stock market index funds and traditional index funds? It is a traditional index fund. So just to give everybody a little glimpse, I got a chance to cheat, right? Because Miss Carol is also somebody else that rocks with me almost every week. And if you've been rocking with me every week, you know I give y'all my text number, right? To text me. So Miss Carol texted me and she asked me this question. So John Bogle, for those who don't know, is the founder of Vanguard. On any given day, they're like the number one biggest investment company in the world. Depending on the day, they've got like over $1 trillion that they manage. Some days it's them, some days it's Fidelity, some days it's BlackRock, but I haven't looked at the charts, the stats recently. Last time I looked, they were like number one in managing money. And so John Bogle is very big on index investing. So am I. Index investing is very much the bull bag. How you doing? Index investing is very much a passive way to buy the total stock market. All right. So let's take a look at that index. All right. And what is an index? An index is a basket of investments. So you can have a basket of stocks, you can have a basket of bonds, you can have a basket of currency, you can have a basket of commodities. Right. So that's all an index is, right? But an index is more academic, it's more theoretical, right? Because what happens is you have passive investing and active investing. And I don't want to get in too deep in that tonight. I think I've actually done a separate video on that, but I should do probably an updated one. Passive investing is basically when you give your money to somebody and let them run it. In this context, we're talking about let's say a mutual fund or an ETF. But the index, right, the mutual fund or the ETF have to follow the index. And so companies like the Dow Jones or the S&P 500 will have these big lists of stocks based on various criteria, right? And they'll follow them and they'll do all the work and they won't change anything. They'll have the criteria. They'll have the criteria and that's all they follow. That's passive investing. Then you have what I used to do. I was an active manager. The managers make decisions hourly, daily, weekly, monthly sometimes, but they're not dependent upon an index because the index is the guide for the passive guys. The active guys don't use an index. They might have a benchmark, but they don't use an index. So they figure out what they want to invest in. They figure out what they think will outperform the overall stock market or whatever objective they have, and then they will go from there. That's kind of active versus passive in a nutshell. There's all kinds of debates about when is it best to be an active investor, when's it best to be a passive investor, right? Typically, in up markets, most people that are passive investors tend to do just fine. Active investment management, when the markets are falling, tend to outperform. Because passive investing just does what the market does for the most part. So active usually works better when the market's going down. Passive usually works better when the market's going up. So that's just kind of quick 50,000 foot view on that. And maybe I'll do a video on that or live with y'all on that sometime soon. So let's find this. So you want a total stock market index fund. So I want to find a good definition. Basically, what it is it's a fund that covers basically U.S. stocks for the most part. Why can't I find this now? And it's funny, all it's giving me now is Vanguard stuff. And I don't want to show you Vanguard stuff just yet because I want you to get the definition first without being bombarded with some third-party label, even though I just shared it with you. Let's see. Listen, while you're waiting for me to get my act together, do me a favor, put your questions in the comments. That's Kurt 357. How are you? Put your questions in the comments and keep them coming. If you're on IG, put them in the question mark box. So, all right, so I got one. That's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. Bear with me 1 second, folks. Bear with me 1 second. This is what happens when you do this stuff live and you don't have anybody else helping you in the background. Because if I was on radio or TV with a full staff like Jim Cramer, I would have somebody pulling this up already, and all I would have to do is recite it. But it's all good. It's all good. Rita, how you doing? You hanging out with us tonight? It's funny. I literally just had this definition up. Just had it up. Oh, there it is. There it is. I had it up. I hid it from myself. My apologies, everyone. So give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. All right. So the site I'm on now is called ETFDB, ETF database, right? So the Dow Jones U.S. Total Market Index, it's still a Dow Jones branded index, right? Remember I just explained to you about index. So this kind of gives you an overview of what it is. It says the Dow Jones U.S. Total Stock Market Index is a float adjusted market capitalization weighted blah, blah, blah that reflects shares of securities actually available to investors in the marketplace to be included in the index. An issue generally must be all of the following. An equity issue, basically common stocks, a REIT, or a limited partnership. By the way, common stocks, publicly traded REITs, and limited partners all trade on the stock market. A security that has its primary market listing in the U.S. and it's headquartered in the U.S. So most of these are all of these are in the U.S. And so, Ms. Carol, I know you are looking to buy something you said that had Amazon, I want to say, and Microsoft in it. So there's a myriad of ETFs. I do not like mutual funds, but there's a myriad of ETFs that you can buy that will have Amazon and Microsoft in them, along with Apple and a few others. Basically, what a total market index fund is, it's a mutual fund or ETF that invests basically in the best or the biggest U.S. companies for the most part. Now, Ms. Carol, I think you had some more questions. Go ahead and throw them in. Anton Sharp, how are you, sir? Anton, I always think I'm saying your name wrong, as the future of Bitcoin. It'll be here. It's going to be around. It's definitely going to be around. Again, I don't hate Bitcoin people. I know some folks are going to say I don't hate Bitcoin, but however, I'm not drinking the Jim Jones red Kool-Aid Bitcoin sauce. I'm just not. I think it's great for what it was built for. When it comes to investing, not so much. In my opinion. All right, so my IG feed just failed. Here we go. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Oops, I don't know what's going on. So I probably lost that, but that's okay. Yeah, getting rid of 1031, someone's fishing for votes. Everybody's fishing for votes. It's election season. And hopefully we can get the orange-haired Hitler-like person out. Hopefully. Hotels, student housing, strip malls, investors are taking a huge hit. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. This guy, you spelled my name wrong. So Mari. Mari. My name is Kamari. Does not hate real estate. No, I don't hate real estate. Not at all. Not at all. So, all right, let me keep going through these. All right, what other questions does everyone have? Yes, Melanie got my name right. Kamari does not like in real estate. No, I don't. George, what's my investment philosophy? Be like water. I say that, but I'm serious. So when I was institutional, I did a hybrid. So I use fundamentals and I use technicals. So I'm not necessarily a value guy, but I will do some value. I do like value for the long haul, but there was some good pops that I could find out there, right? So I'm always trying to find, basically, I guess if you want to narrow down my philosophy is, I'm trying to find value that's about the pop, if that makes sense, right? So I'm trying to find hidden value, if there even is a such thing anymore, that's about the pop. And that doesn't always happen. Those are my favorite things to find. I love going dumpster diving or basically finding stocks when they've been beaten down and investing in those. Part of the reason why I like Ford. I'm trying to, there's an adage out there that says the market has all the information it ever needs. A lot of our technical analysts will say price action has all the price information that you need. But that's not always true, because if that was true, you would never get big pops. You would never get big gaps. Everybody would kind of be running off the same information, but we're not all running off the same information. And I'm not even talking about insider trading. I'm just talking about how people evaluate and look at different investments. So SWTSX has Amazon. Right, but that's a mutual fund. I hate mutual funds. Can you find something better than a mutual fund? Here, I'll give you something shortly that has all those things. I know one off the top of my head that has all those things. QQQ. Can somebody put that in the chat for me? QQQ has all those things. It has them all. So, Nurse Nikki, how are you? What's going on? Nurse Nikki, how are you? Mid-Atlantic's back. I'm going into my second hour on IG, my second hour on Facebook, my second hour on Facebook. So, all right, let's do Miss Carol a solid. Let's find her some ETFs, right? I prefer ETFs over mutual funds. ETFs are the cousin of mutual funds. There's several reasons why I prefer ETFs over mutual funds. Typically, they're cheaper. Typically, not always. Also, there's more liquidity. What I mean by liquidity, I can get in and out of an ETF throughout the day. A mutual fund, I have to wait till the end of the day to figure out what it's pricing for. There's a myriad of tax benefits that are way better in an ETF than they are with a mutual fund. So falling open and the magic is back. Hey, Charlie. Charlie Philly's here. Charlie, you've been here like 2-3 weeks in a row. What's up with that? So, Nurse Nikki, I just saw your request. Give me a minute. I'll see if I can get you on. Let me get through all the questions. So we are on a mission to find Ms. Carol, an ETF that has Amazon. What do you want? Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple in it, right? So any tech ETF will have that. And I'm just going to Google ETFs with Amazon, Microsoft. Go Google in there. You didn't say Google, but I'm going to Google in there. And Apple. QQQ has it XLK. I think it's XLK. Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of FANG. There are a bunch of FANG ETFs as well. So I am on ETF. Yep, Chili. I said QQQ. What have you been holding since last pop at 40? Well, don't be sorry. So Rhonda, so mutual funds and ETFs or exchange traded funds both track equity indexes. Actually, they track equity indexes. Actually, they track bond indexes. They track a lot of indexes. Trying to find what cheapest one falling open in the magic. Y'all like Virgin? Is Virgin Galactic profitable? Talk to me. Is Virgin Galactic profitable? I'm curious. All right, so I'm back on ETF database. This is another site to get resources. I actually enjoy this site. So this is FANG, right? And if you don't know what FANG stands for, FAANG. So Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Again, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. So any of these ETFs have those five. So QQQ, right? Remember I said QQQ. QQQ is an ETF, one of the biggest ETFs that tracks actually the NASDAQ. Now, the NASDAQ is a stock exchange and it's an overall, it's an index in and of itself. All right, so VUG, that's interesting. IWF. Now, when I'm looking at ETFs, I do have a couple criteria. I'll give you one of them right now. I don't buy any ETFs that have less than 5 million in assets under management. But all of these have way more. These are in the billions. The 2 M's means add 6 zeros in front of that decimal. QLD, IWY, IGM, XLG. Okay. I want to talk about this real quick. I do not recommend anybody use leverage. Don't use any of the leverage ETFs or ETPs that are out there. So that when it says pro shares, just avoid pro shares altogether. They are not for beginners. Remember, I talk to beginners. I'm not talking to the intermediate, the advanced, the people trying to get fancy and sexy. I only talk to beginners. But avoid all leverage. Most times you don't need it. Another word for credit, some of y'all might hear, and it's not the same, but I'm just throwing it out there. It's margin. where you can get $3 for your $1 that you might put in. It's like a loan. Most people, again, use it irresponsibly, like most credit, right? They use it irresponsibly, and so they tend to get hurt. VSLP, how you doing? So overall, FTEC is the cheapest and best performing that I can find. So FTEC, what is that? Is that an ETF? Fidelity. That's what the Fed stands for. Is that a mutual fund? It's on the ARCA though. It's got $4 billion in it. Holdings, Apple, Microsoft, Visa. I probably expense ratio is 0.008. I bet Vanguard has something cheaper than that. Have you looked into that falling? So what we're talking about right now, everybody, is the expense ratio, basically how much the fund charges its investors, right? You want to think about fees. When you're investing. Again, like I said, I don't like mutual funds because they tend to charge more money than ETFs. Okay, QQQ has a 0.2 or 20 basis points expense ratio. I wonder what Vanguard is. Most of their stuff is usually 0.03-ish, 5-ish, something like that. Expense ratio 0.04. And you said you gave me 84 cents, but you didn't give me the percentage. So Vanguard is cheaper than Fidelity. Fidelity is 0.08. So this is me personally, right? I would probably go with Vanguard before Fidelity with most things. Vanguard has been in the space. Vanguard is a pioneer in indexing, period. They've been in the space a lot longer than Fidelity. Fidelity is just now getting to the party. Vanguard's been at the party. So yes, it can be a mutual fund so mutual funds are index funds. A lot of people use the term interchangeably. I would use an ETF to execute what you're trying to do, though. Right. The information that you have is because it's the one you have is the Charles Schwab mutual fund. All right. So Chili asked me any opinion on ARKW. ARKW. What in the world is ARKW? ARKW. I keep repeating it so I don't forget it. For ARKW, it's been kicking booty. What is ARKW? Investment, next generation investment trust. So I bet something internet related. So what we got here, folks? What we got here? Didn't switch. So I'm going to switch over to ARKW now. Let's see what we're talking about. So ARKW, ARK, Next Generation Internet ETF. All right, we all know what ETF means, right? I've talked about that enough. Whoa, look at that expense ratio, 0.76%, almost a whole percent. All right, but again, it's been doing great since the beginning of the year. So, let's see. What is it? So Yahoo partners with Morningstar, a leading market research and investment data group, to help investors rate and compare. The Morningstar category. You're not telling me anything. Tesla. Okay, that makes sense why it's been kicking butt, because Tesla is super duper hyper inflated and they're not profitable. Falling, don't get mad at me when I say that. Square Inc. Square is doing well. Roku. Not sure what SU is. Zillow Group. Splunk, Lending Tree, Pinterest, Facebook. Okay, so this is basically a super duper young stage internet. Well, not super duper, but kind of a younger stage internet play. I'm not mad at it. I think you could definitely argue to make it a piece of your portfolio. But I don't know. It's up 67% year to date. What's Tesla up year to date? I'm sure a lot of that is Tesla. Tesla just keeps going and going and going and going. So we shall see. So yeah, I don't have a problem with those. I wouldn't say it's a screaming no. Now, man, we ain't falling over my new friend on IG, right? We just got acquainted, Chili. So he got mad at me because I was talking about Tesla and how they basically got $20 billion of shorts on Tesla. So he read me the riot act because I said they weren't profitable. But he came with some facts, though. That's why I respect him. Yes, leverage is very dangerous. All right, Mike, how you doing? Tion 1992. Miss Mitney, how are you? Okay, you said you tried GQ Philly. I just talked about that. The stock market exchange. If you go into the first hour on IG, you'll see that. I just did it. Actually, the title of that one was the first black market, the first black owned stock market exchange. Sikune Nicole. I think I'm jacking your name up, so I apologize in advance. I am sorry. Teach me how to say it right. Kind of Connection PM, how are you? Papaya Ness, how are you? Des Knocker, how are you? Lena, I think that's how you say your name. Okay, so ARKW is actively managed ETF. Okay, it's actively managed. Right, Tesla's over 300%. Absolutely. But GQ Philly, Lana, sorry. GQ Philly, just to let you know, they haven't fully officially launched yet. I know the Black Enterprise article said they officially launched. They have not officially launched yet. They're about to do a big webinar on the 28th. You can go over to their website, the Dream Exchange, and you can register for their webinar, and they're going to give you more details. But it's an exchange that is looking to be geared more towards small businesses and help small black businesses get more access to capital and to their businesses. So this should be interesting. Jamar, how are you? Cali Exchange student to this new stuff. Okay, cool. Feel free to throw your questions in, put them in a little question box at the bottom, and we'll get at it. We'll continue to get at it. All right, so Melanated Alton asked, what's your take on creating a family LLC? I'm considering taking a course on it and definitely wanted your take on it, if you don't mind. By the way, podcast just dropped, right? No, it's a shameless plug, but there's a reason why I brought it up. So everybody go find the Finance Rebel Show on iTunes, on Spotify, on Google, on Stitcher. So I bring that up for a reason. On the alternate, I actually have an episode on there talking about LLCs. And listen, family LLCs are cool. The question is there already a business in place, right? A lot of times family LLCs are used in succession planning and also estate planning. The question, I would ask is, do you have any estate planning or succession planning already in play? Now, you could just be wanting to do business with your family or something like that. That's cool. But when you say family LLC, it kind of gives it a thought of being along those lines of succession or estate planning. But what business do you have? What business are you in right now? I'm going to tell you, don't go get an LLC just to get an LLC. A lot of people are out here, and listen, any of my lawyers are watching, they might get mad at me now. I hang out with a whole bunch of lawyers. I love lawyers. They're usually smart, very analytical, understand the system. Pays you to have some lawyer friends. But lawyers are the ultimate risk managers. So they're going to tell you to do the most conservative thing ever, even if it might not make sense from a tax perspective, and it might not make sense just from a financial perspective, like how much money you got in the bag. So, for example, I see a lot of lawyers telling people to get LLCs. However, in certain states, when you have an LLC, you have to pay an annual fee to keep your LLC going. In Maryland, it's $300. In California, it's $800. In New York, I think it's $800. I think in Massachusetts, it's like $500. In Kansas, it's like $50, right? So it goes all over the place. By the way, that annual fee is due no matter if you made money or not. And so listen, when these LLC people get out here and they want to promote LLCs, they don't tell you all that. They just say, get an LLC and you can write everything off. You can write off the same things with an LLC that you can write off with a sole proprietorship. Again, I'm not saying for you not to get an LLC. What I am saying, though, is get all the facts, do all the research, do all the due diligence. Because when people are just trying to sell you stuff, no matter what, if it will help you or not, they don't tell you that. They just tell you all the sexy stuff, all the fun stuff, all the stuff that gets you hot and bothered. They know how to pull on your emotional heartstrings, right? To say, oh, this is sexy. Oh, this will help me make some money. Oh, this will help me get rich. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to charge you a bunch of money, and you're not going to have any idea of what to do once you get the LLC. I can't tell you how many times I get people that have LLCs, but don't understand that they might have different filing requirements, tax filing requirements, right? They don't understand that they have to do annual filings. So, again, you need to know. What kind of business are we talking about? Are we talking about selling water on a corner? Are we talking about buying, some buildings? Are we talking about selling food? Like what are we talking about? What's your thought? Do you have any on it? Okay, so you don't have anything in place. So listen, again, there's no bad financial tools. There's only sucky, terrible financial strategy. Like, again, you have people out here that will sell you anything. And some people say, Kamari, why you always come down so bad on salespeople? Because, again, in our community, typically, we learn about finance and we learn about money when somebody's trying to sell us something. Now, me and my homegirl, Courtney, the Ivy investor, always say that, right? So I don't know who said it first. I know she said it first or I said it first, but we basically agree. We learn about stuff when people are trying to sell us stuff. And when people are trying to sell you something, they're always going to show you the best representation. They're always going to show you what's great. Well, we're really serious about becoming wealthy. We got to know the whole story, not just that smidgen that helps a salesperson get a better commission. You need all the info so you can make an informed decision. And so I tell people, don't just believe me. Do your research. Look up annual report or look up annual LLC filing in California. Look up annual LLC filing in Maryland or any state that you're in, right? Some of the popular internet companies that do these legal formations charge you $300, $400, $500. In Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania, you can start an LLC with $125. By the way, it costs you nothing to get an EIN. Nothing at all. So just, keep that in mind. And by the way, I am not opposed for people doing business, people getting paid. If people are going to process the paperwork for you and do it, they deserve to get paid. Pay that woman, pay that man. But just know that some people overinflate stuff. Black Buffett, how are you? I like that name. That's dope. Dre 8211. Yes, Miss Benny, Cali is very high. Everything in Cali is high. They call that the sunshine tax. Live to the fullest. Thank you for joining. All right, so who's got any questions? Good and plenty running. How are you? So can any business be an LLC? Just about any business. But why does LLC matter? Why do you care about LLC? Why are you fixated on LLC? And I'm not trying to come down on you, but I really want to understand. Why does it matter? Yep. No bad financial tools, only bad strategies. Buy some buildings. Listen, having an LLC does not stop you from being or becoming rich or becoming wealthy or developing a wealthy mindset. There's a person who got all this entity stuff going. I'm not going to say his name because I think he's a racist. I deplore and I reject all racist, all white supremacy. At least that's blatant in my face. But this guy would say everybody should get a corporation. And this was back in the 90s, late 90s. And man, when I tell you everybody was going out getting corporations, had no clue what to do with them, had no idea that they had to keep minutes. They just went out and got corporations because some guru, and right, I understand that many people are starting to call me guru too. I don't really like that, but I get it. I don't care if it's me. Even if it's me, if I'm telling you something, go double check it. Go double check it. And I'm not just saying that to say it. Go double check it. We make melanated out, and I'm curious who. You know what? Never mind. I'm not even going to ask the question. I'm not going to ask the question. All right. So Rhonda Cox says, VG. We talking about Visa? Reported a loss of $200.9 million for 2019, looking to be profitable by 2021. Has gone up by $7 million. Its October debut on the NYXC. So is it V or is it VG? Yes, sunshine tax is real in Cali. Hey, out there, ask the question. PPP loans. I just did a video on PPP loans and all the fraud that's going on around those. Oh, and I started to bring up a point and then I lost my point, but I found it again, right? So I was lost once and now found myself. So on my show, on my podcast that I just launched, I need y'all help with that, right? I think I've gotten like one person that's listened to it and rated and reviewed it. I need a couple of y'all to go listen, rate, and review it, right? So on that show, on this podcast, I did an episode on, let me see, on do you need an LLC to start a business? So it's about 25 minutes. So I go a bit more in depth about it. I mean, I kind of gave it to you here, but if you wanted to go a bit more in depth, listen to that episode. That is episode number 4 on the Finance Rebel Show. I recommend, or I ask all of you to go listen, go rate, go review, and go subscribe. It's on all platforms, iTunes or the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. So, all right, who's got questions? Miss Althea, what is your question about PPP? Okay, so Cali Connection says, are startups especially taking more serious with the LLC? Yes and no. It really depends, right? So when you say startup, I'm thinking about Silicon Valley. I'm thinking about California. Your name is Cali Connection PM. I'm thinking about San Fran. Basically, everything's expensive up there. Everybody's getting hit with the sunshine tax. But C corporations are actually what's used a lot in those transactions because they are better apt to work with investors. And there's no pass-through, right? So LLCs and C Corps typically are pass-through entities, meaning that the money that you make with these businesses pass through to your personal. Whether it's a loss, it passes through to your personal. Whether it's a gain, it passes through to your personal. Then you have to pay taxes or potentially have a write-off to reduce your taxes. So name of the podcast is the Finance Rebel Show. Somebody in the chat, do me a favor, put in the Finance Rebel Show. The Finance Rebel Show. No, Bossman PG is not Robert Allen. I haven't heard anything about Robert Allen. Right. Why would the bank require an IRS Form 944 documentation that the company is a sole proprietor? 944 is payroll, I want to say. I want to say it's annual payroll or quarterly payroll. It's right. It's the annual federal tax for payroll. Because they asked everybody for that, from what I understand. So they asked everybody for that form because, again, PPP loan is the payroll protection program. And so it's for that. However, when you are a sole proprietor, they consider you the employee. Now, sole proprietors can have employees, right? So it's not out of the realm for a sole proprietor to have employees. They can have employees. I have a client now that does mid 6 figures, and is a sole proprietor. They shouldn't be, but they don't listen to me, right? That's one of the things, right? I get to talk to y'all. And I get to vent. I get to vent a little bit because all my clients don't listen. They like kids. Tell them something, and they still do what they want to do a lot of times. So, but they don't know. So if you, again, I think if you do have employees, they want to know, because whether you have employees or not, the level of employees that an employer may have is going to change the loan situation. Okay. All right, Melanie. Now make sure you listen tonight. Listen to the Finance Rebel Show. Make sure you rate, comment, and review. Appreciate you. Just found it on Spotify. All right. Listen, let me know what you think. Thank you for that, Lena. I appreciate you. So Bossman PG says 43,000 projected to be evicted in Silicon Valley. Yeah. Yeah, it's about to get rough. Okay, so Ms. Carroll says, oh, so sole proprietors is considered employee for the PPP program. Yes. Yes. Cali Connection asks, do sole proprietors have to report W-3 forms? W-4 forms? W-4? Or is it W-3? Are you saying W-3? W-3 is a form. W-3 is a form. I don't think I've ever. Oh. So the W-3 form is the form that employers transmit in to report W-2 information. I refuse to do payroll. So I don't remember a lot of those numbers. Actually, a long time ago, I stopped trying to remember everything. So thank you, Miss Carol. Appreciate you. Thank you, Lynette. Now, Lynette, Miss Carol, y'all gotta subscribe. Y'all gotta listen. Y'all gotta rate, review. All right. All right, Melody out on YouTube says, by the way, I am sure I speak for everyone here, Kamari, but I definitely just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing and taking the time out to bless us with your knowledge. You're appreciated, my brother. Oh man, you about to make me cry on here. Got me thinking like about to have my allergies acting up on me, brother. Why you throwing that to me? But no, Alton, I appreciate you as well. I'm honored that you show up just about every week, so I appreciate that. I truly, truly do. DJ Grimm, my man, how you doing, sir? Did I tell you I just launched a podcast called The Finance Rebel Show? You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google. Latoya Owens, my tax sister down in Texas. Latoya, why? Someone asked the question, why would a sole proprietor need to fill out a 944 form? A 944 form for PPP loans. I think you were doing PPP loans, so chime in with that. Latoya's dope. She's down in Texas. She is a tax god. I've been elevated to tax god status. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. If y'all watched last Saturday, I interviewed vegan chef Sunny Speaks. Actually, she's big on Instagram. And she always calls me Black Tax Jesus or Tax God. So that's our joke as well. So Latoya is definitely dope also. All right, so who's got questions? It's 9:40. I ain't ate yet. I ain't hanging out with you peoples all night long, with you folks. Just playing. All right, so we talked about the new Black Stock Market Exchange. We talked about stocks. We talked about LLCs. We talked about family LLCs. We talked about my new podcast, right? My new podcast, The Finance Rebel Show. That all of y'all that are watching are going to go download, subscribe, rate, and review. But who has questions? Who has questions? Or do y'all just want me to talk just for the sake of talking? Grim, what you got going on over there? Now, I don't know if y'all saw my other program. Yeah, Cali Connection is called the Dream Exchange. It's a minority owned stock market exchange for Black businesses. Now, Latoya, for right, I said for employees. Now, Latoya, for PPP, won't they? Right. So they'll ask for it. I think I said that. So they'll ask for it, but if you're a sole proprietor with no employees, you won't have it. But Latoya, if you're a sole proprietor with employees, you might file a 944. So Latoya just took it to a technical angle. So right. So if you're an S corp and you are employed, you might have a 944. If you're an S corp and you are an owner employer, you might have a 944, right? The Dream Exchange, Ms. Carol. So Cali Connection, the Dream Exchange. Sports are back. So how do you think that impacts the stock market? I think it's good. I think people need diversions. Listen, I am not the sports guy. I'm not. I used to be really big on sports when I was younger, knew all the stats. So my sports knowledge is kind of locked in time to a certain degree. But for me, and this is no diss to sports fans, I just can't get into it. I just can't get into it. No, they don't know. Have you heard about the Tesla competitor, Nikola Stocks? They're supposed to be doing big things. Yeah, we talked about them a few weeks ago. Yeah, they're doing big things. They got the electronic trucks. They have the electronic trucks and some other battery technology. And let's pull them up. Let's talk about them real quick before I hop off. Nikolai. Dez, what's up, Dez? How you doing? They are hydrogen trucks. I thought Nikola had EVs. I thought they had EVs. Hydrogen is the new fuel. Look at truck makers' earnings. Okay, they're hydrogen. I stand corrected. So EVs are electronic vehicles. Hydrogen is different. So hydrogen is the new thing. For starters, there is Nikolai. Can you all see that? I wish I could make this bigger. So there's Nikolai. Its market value has rocketed from less than $1 billion at the start of the year to more than $14 billion. Nikola plans to power heavy-duty trucks with hydrogen-powered fuel cells. Hydrogen can be burned just like diesel, fuel, or natural gas, but it doesn't emit the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide in the process. That qualifies the fuel for environmental tax credits. Ooh, that's sexy. It also helps transportation companies meet tightening environmental standards. So I am DJ Dream. How are you? Bree Switzer, how are you? Thanks for joining. So yeah, I've been paying. I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to it, but that definitely sounds sexy in a good way, right? Because it's sexy, and it's everything under it is just all fake, and then there's sexy where there's real substance there, without being too graphic. So yeah, I like it. I would watch it a little bit. Actually, let's do this. Let's take a look at. Let's see what they got in the bank. So let me do this real quick. Let me pull them up. Now, y'all know what I normally do. The first thing I do is when I'm looking up at a stock, I go to finance.yahoo.com, and then I pull up their financials just to see what's going on. Can't be serious about investing into a stock because we are looking at a business, right? A stock is just a piece of a business. So you want to know what that business is doing. And listen, businesses run off profits. Now, some of the stocks that are in the stock market get the opportunity to raise capital, like we were talking about earlier. So they are the exception sometimes. However, you can really tell how well a company is running by how well their profits are. Okay, now Yahoo is doing that thing to me now. I don't know if y'all remember, but a couple weeks ago, I went to Yahoo and they wouldn't share any of their data. It was all premium. And then the next week it was back. So it looks like they're kind of doing the same thing again. So they had revenue of 5.8 billion. They had revenue of 5.8 billion. And they are taking a loss right now. So they're down almost 33 million. They had a loss of 33 million. So that may turn around. That may change. And I can't look at it. Let me see. Oh, I can't look at it. So I got to look at the quarterly. But right now they got roughly $75 million in cash. So that ain't bad. That ain't bad. But they're upside down. So they have more liability than they have equity or assets, just like in personal finance, right? If your assets are worth less than your bills or your debts, then you don't have a positive net worth. Same thing for businesses, right? That's always glaring. But again, they're a newer company. They've been around for a while, but they just debuted back on the stock market, and they're still trying to, establish themselves and get their legs. Roosevelt Mel, how you doing? How you making out with all this? So, if you believe in hydrogen fuel technology, I would definitely do a deeper dive on this. I'm never in a hurry to buy or make any investment. Just like anything else, right? Like people be ready to buy. They see something, they ready to buy. They're ready to pluck their cash down. But I like to think of things like in relationship terms, right? Not many people fall in love at first sight, even though it's been romanticized, right? You tend to have a conversation with a person, talk to them on the phone. Maybe if you think they're special, you might go out on a date with them. And if they do go on the first date, maybe you go on a second date. It's usually a process to get to marriage. Typically, I think of investing the same way. Take your time, get to know the stock, get to know the company, know how the company makes money. Who's going to buy these trucks? Who will be Nikolai's best customer? Where will their profits come from? How many units do they have to sell to be profitable? How far away are they from being profitable? So it's not just, a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, one night stand kind of thing, right? Maybe for some of our traders out there, my day traders, but not for investors. Again, I promote investing. I promote long-term investing. So, and by the way, there's a reason why I promote long-term investing. I don't think people inherently practice long-term thinking. One of the ways to do that when it's incentivized by making money. So I always preach long-term investing, especially for investors. Okay. Oh, so we're still talking PPP. 944 small businesses to file taxes once a year. So 944 is for small businesses to file their payroll tax. Again, payroll tax, not just their tax. I don't want anybody to be confused about that. Hold on one second. Latoya, I should just do a show with you and we can talk all about PPP and EIDL. Right, that is correct. So proprietor for PPP has to show a gross profit for 2019. That's right. Listen, there are a lot of people who are filing fake docs to get fake loans. And listen, if you file fake docs to get a loan, your behind might start wearing orange jumpsuits. You might get locked up. You just might get locked up. And there are people already getting locked up behind EIDL, PPP, especially PPP loans. So Latoya, thank you for having my back on that. I definitely appreciate you. Good. Yes. Add them on your watch list. Again, just like somebody you might be interested in dating, you might watch them for a while. See how they react. See how they act. See if they got any sense. Or if they're just a pretty shell with no substance. So Melody Alton asked me, what exactly do you look at when examining a company's cash flows? I look at their income statement, I look at their balance sheet, and I look at their statement of cash flows. And I usually start with just looking over the last 5 years. And that's more of a value type investment, right? Remember I talked about that earlier where someone asked me that question earlier. What was my philosophy? But that's kind of my process. I look at the last 5 years. I look to see what kind of trend it is. I also look to see if a company is paying dividends or not. So is revenue increasing? Is revenue declining? Right? Is liabilities increasing? Are liabilities declining? Are assets increasing? Are assets declining? Just those cash flow, again, the cash flow statement, right? Is cash flow increasing or is cash flow declining? Just by looking at those brief things will tell you a lot about a company. Because over the last 5 years, if they haven't figured out, right, so for example, they might have had a rough patch, right? Right now is a rough patch. But if that company stays in that rough patch and they haven't recovered, that tells you that that management team isn't that great, right? So just look at it's not rocket science. We're going to keep it short and sweet. KISS. Trends. Let's look at the last 5-year trends of income. Last 5 years trends of profit. Is it a negative trend or is it a profitable? Is it a negative trend or is it a positive trend? Right? We want to look at all that. Last 5 years of liabilities. Are they increasing? Now, listen, then you have to kind of think this through because every company in every industry is different. A company like a Nikolai, I'm not sure how to say that. I need to look and see how it's said. Is typically going to be very capital intensive. What does capital intensive means? They got to spend a lot of money. All right. So they've got to put out money for plants, research, not plants like, a spider plant or adel plant. I'm talking about a plant that, you build your stuff from, you build your factories in, or you're building out your trucks. What kind of plants do they need? Right? Are they big? What kind of volume are they turning out? One of the problems with Tesla is they can never meet their demand. Tesla's product is A1. People love it. If I'm blessed enough, if I had that much money, maybe I'll buy one day. But they can never sell enough to generate a profit. So that's one of Tesla's biggest problems. But, same thing. Those are the things I would look at first when looking at a company's financials, when you're thinking about investing in the stock. Okay, so thanks, LaToya. She's going to send all tax filings for 2019 since she didn't do a form 2019. Hope that should be sufficient. Thanks, LaToya. Appreciate you. You have been adopted. You are now a part of the Finance Rebel team. You are a Finance Rebel. Got to get you a shirt. And yes, for all of you who have businesses or know people that have businesses and they made money last year, please tell them to apply for PPP or EIDL if they have not done so far. A lot of times we complain about not having access to capital in our community. Here is a wonderful opportunity to get access to capital. I've seen a lot of articles going around saying Black companies didn't get as much funding as many others. Well, a lot of them did not at first, but they went back, they revamped, they changed some things, and people are getting funded. I had one client applied for EIDL like 5 o'clock in the morning. He had funding at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Get the capital, even if you don't need it. You can never have too much money. The rates are great. You'll never get better business terms right now. You'll never get better business terms that you're getting right now through the EIDL and the PPP loans, if you qualify. But a lot of people are scared. I get it. They don't want to take on debt that they don't necessarily need. But the EIDL loan is a 30-year loan at 3.75%. The PPP loan is a 1% loan. And LaToya, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a 1% loan over 60 months. So that's 5 years. Where you want to get a 1% loan at? Usually 1% loan is only for those that have like 850 credit scores. And they don't always get the lowest credit or the best credit terms. So Right. That's why you did a whole presentation. I told y'all it's really sharp. So listen, get it while it's good. Again, if you are a legitimate business, don't make up no fake tax returns, because if y'all were on for a lot the other day, I talked about the guy who made a fake tax returns, got over $1 million in PPP, and his ass about to go to jail with no bail. So people, let's keep it above board. Let's be clean. Let's keep our nose clean. Let's not give the system any reason to come look for us and put us away. What is that noise? So I think I got critters outside my windows. My raccoons are savage where I live at. So who knows? All right, folks, it's 9:58. I've been on for 2 hours with y'all, and I have not eaten. I ain't had no victuals. I ain't had no food. All I had was this little stinking water. So I'm going to go. Listen, everybody, I've been talking about the podcast. I appreciate it if you all go check it out. If you have any questions in the interim, feel free to send me a text at 484-278-1357. Again, 484-278-1357. I try to get back to everybody, depending upon my availability. Text is best. Don't call me because I'm not going to answer. Just telling you that now. Don't be offended. Well, if you are, I can't help you with that offense, but I'm letting you know up front. And like I said, go check out the podcast, The Finance Rebel Show. And also, everybody be well. I appreciate you all being here. And I'm not sure what that's about. Yes, you got to have integrity. Talking about the businesses are absolutely out. Absolutely. But again, if anybody has any questions, you can always text me, 484-278-1357. I will be back on Saturday at noon. Not sure who I'm interviewing yet, but y'all know, Wealthy Conversations every Saturday at noon. I don't always get the chance to broadcast live on IG, but I'm always live on Facebook and YouTube. So Saturday at noon, Wealthy Conversations. And I will see you all next Wednesday at 8 p.m. sharp. Same Rebel time, same Rebel channel. Everybody have a great night. So long and be well.